you've got this great idea buzzing around in your head, right? It could be a memory, a big opinion, or some complex concept you're trying to figure out. But the question is, how do you build it? How do you take that thing in your head and construct something real, something solid, using just words?
Well, that's what we're here for. We're going to open up the Writer's Toolkit and show you the 4 essential tools you need to build basically anything you can imagine with words.
Because, let's be real, writing is not one size fits all. You wouldn't use a hammer to saw a piece of wood, would you? Of course not. And in the same way, you can't use the same writing style for every single situation. It's all about choosing the right tool for the job.
So let's get this toolkit laid out. By the end of this, you're going to have 4 incredibly powerful writing tools ready to go.
And here they are, our 4 power tools. The narrative essay, for telling a great story. The descriptive essay, for painting a vivid picture. The expository essay, for just explaining the facts. And the argumentative essay, for, winning a debate. Each one has its own unique superpower.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with storytelling, then we'll move on to painting with words, then explaining the facts, and finally, we'll tackle how to win an argument. Let's open this toolbox up.
All right, let's grab our first tool from the kit. This one is all about telling a story. We're talking about the narrative essay.
So what is this thing exactly? Well, a narrative essay is your go-to whenever you need to tell a story. But here's the key. It's not just some random story. It's usually personal, and it always has a point. You could say it's a story with a mission.
So what does it look like? You're typically going to see the word I a lot. It's written in the first person. It usually follows events as they happen, in chronological order. Its job is to share some kind of vivid experience, all while building up to a central theme or a big takeaway. A little pro tip here, a great way to hook your reader is to drop them right into the action instead of starting way at the beginning.
Okay, so when would you actually use this? Think about that college application essay, the one where you had to write about a time you failed and what you learned. Or maybe a personal blog post about a trip that totally changed your perspective. That is the narrative essay in action.
Okay, time for our second tool. If the first one was for the storyteller in you, this one's for the artist. This is all about painting with words, and it's called the descriptive essay. The purpose of a descriptive essay is, well, it's right there in the name. It describes something, but it goes way deeper than that. It's about using sensory details, what you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, to literally transport your reader somewhere else, to create a super vivid picture right inside their mind. The secret sauce here is immersion. You do that by appealing to all 5 senses, and by using figurative language, things like metaphors and similes. But the golden rule, the absolute #1 thing to remember, is to show your reader what's happening, not just tell them. Here's a fun little challenge. For any scene you're describing, try to jot down one specific detail for sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. It's a super simple way to add incredible depth, fast. Just think about it, right? If you're writing a memoir, you don't just say, "My childhood home was old." No way. You describe the creak of the floorboards, the faint smell of your grandma's baking. If you're writing a travel piece, you make your reader feel the chaotic, vibrant energy of a marketplace. That's the magic of this tool.
Okay, this slide just nails the difference perfectly. The tree was old and the weather was bad. I mean, that's just telling me a fact. It's fine. But the ancient oak's gnarled branches clawed at the stormy gray sky. Wow, that's showing me. I can see it, I can feel the tension, it creates a whole mood.
All right, let's put down the paintbrushes and pick up the magnifying glass. Our third tool is all about explaining the facts, and it's called the expository essay.
This is your absolute workhorse for any kind of objective writing. An expository essay doesn't tell a personal story or try to create a mood. Nope, its only job is to investigate a topic, look at all the evidence, and then explain it to the reader in a really clear, straightforward, and balanced way. This kind of writing is built on a solid foundation of facts, stats, and examples. It's all about putting your personal bias aside to present a really balanced view, and the structure is absolutely key. It's got to be logical, like explaining cause and effect or comparing 2 things. The ultimate goal? It's simple, to inform and to clarify. And this right here is a really important distinction to make. An expository essay would lay out all the pros and all the cons of a 4-day work week. It gives you the whole picture. An argumentative essay, which we're getting to next, picks a side. It argues that companies should absolutely make that change. See the difference? One informs, the other persuades.
And that brings us to our final and maybe our most powerful tool. This is the one you pull out when you want to win an argument, the argumentative essay.
So, unlike the expository essay, the argumentative essay is definitely not neutral. It plants a flag, it takes a firm stance on an issue, and then it uses a whole barrage of evidence to systematically convince the reader that its point of view is the right one.
Building a strong argument. It's like building a case. It requires a blueprint. It all starts with a strong, debatable main point. Then you back up everything you say with credible evidence. Now here's a really smart move. You should also bring up the other side's argument and explain why it doesn't quite hold up. It shows you've thought about all the angles. And you always finish with a powerful call to action.
And this isn't just for school papers. Not at all. This is a real-world power tool. You're writing an opinion piece for a website, crafting a business proposal to land a huge client, trying to convince your boss that your new project idea is a game changer. You're using argumentative writing.
So let's do a super quick recap. This table puts everything in one place for you. If you want to share an experience, you grab your narrative tool. To paint a picture, you use the descriptive tool. To explain a topic, it's all about the expository tool. And to persuade someone, you pull out the argumentative tool. Think of it as your own personal cheat sheet.
And there you have it. We've unpacked the entire toolkit. You've got the essentials for telling stories, for painting pictures with words, for explaining the facts, and for winning arguments. So I guess the only question left is, you've got the tools. What are you going to build?